Oh my gosh, it's so funny to go live and like looking at this photo is really hilarious because typically it's a photo of me. That is cracking me up. Hi, my loves. It's Dream Lady Girl from around the way where we have culture, conversation, and community. And in today's video, I'm coming to you all with some commentary about some world events, some world news, girl. I don't really get into this. A lot anymore. I feel like I used to before, whatever. But I think now's the time for us to kind of start getting into a couple of things. Only because so much is happening and then there's just so much here, right? So, before I hop into my commentary, make sure you like this video and subscribe if you haven't done so already. We talk about popular topics, hot topics in a way that helps us reshape and reframe our paradigm so that way we can live the life that we deserve. Okay. I appreciate you so much for liking, hyping, and subscribing to the channel. Now, I want to say that I try to stay away from topics like this because you know why. Like the creator economy is very like temperamental right now. Everybody is, honestly censored. It's just no other way to put it. And so for a small creator like myself, it doesn't really make sense for me to say something like this. But honestly, it's who I am at the core, right? I am going to be the person to call truth to power. I've always been that person. And so fuck it. I mean, at this point, we already at WAR with Iran. So shit, why not? Um, if you don't know, Trump has recently fired Kristi Noem, who was the leader or secretary of the Department of Homeland Security or DHS. Okay. And so let me change this really quickly. Let me change this so we can kind of get into her tea and I can kind of fill you in about what's going on with Sister Girl. Okay. Now I don't know why these are coming up like, and let's remove this one. Where is the girl at? Okay, here we go. So Chrissy Nome is the head or was the head of hey y'all. Hold on, let me post this real quick. Mhm. And let me put the American flag. Yeah, no, I'm on bullshit anytime I put the American flag. Okay, so Christy Nome was essentially the head of the Department of Homeland Security. Okay, so she was going to be the one who is overseeing ICE. She is the go to, right? And, she was assigned this job, she was appointed this position. And hey, y'all coming in, make sure you guys are liking the live if you're coming in, okay? Like the live if you're coming in. Make sure we're liking the live if we're coming in, okay? And basically there was been a lot of reports about her and her ability to perform her duties. I think that I think that I think that I think one of the major criticism that I heard from her was the fact that she was possibly involved with someone who was over at DHS and like it was her man and it was her subordinate and he created this company and they were together like all this so weird shit, right? So I think that her being in this position now maybe doesn't come to a surprise because when she had to go and testify on Capitol Hill, she said some things that was unfavorable towards the president of the United States, Donald Trump. So the whole big scandal came about because she basically admitted to the fact that she spent y'all listening, y'all with me? Are y'all with me? $220 million on ads. Okay. And these ads were supposed to target, I'm assuming, illegals, okay, people who have migrated here illegally to try to convince them to go back home, right? So, this was, ICE is coming, this and the third, and um, most of these, um, what is it, advertisement featured her. Okay. And so there's a big controversy around that because why are you spending $220 million on TV advertisement, which, by the way, is taxpayers' monies? And she also said that she was being interviewed by, I think his name was Kennedy, Representative Kennedy, he out of Louisiana, who is apparently Trump's good homeboy. Like they real good homeboys, and he couldn't believe what she was saying. She's like, "Well, you do know that you're under oath." She's like, "Yes." And she's like, "Well, are you saying that the president was aware that you were spending this amount of money?" And she said, "Yeah, that nigga knew that I was spending 220 million with an M, y'all, $1 million on ads to try to convince and tell the people to leave the country. $220 million. She said that the president knew about it. They went through what she was able to spend, what she was able to not spend, and what needed approval. So anything over $5 million, her staffers could essentially approve. Anything above 5 million would have to go through her, which she would get the final say. And then obviously she was saying that the president was made aware too. Now, Kennedy has reported that he spoke to Trump, and Trump said he ain't approve of that $220 million. Okay, so there is some conflict on whether or not is she telling the truth or is she purging herself, or is she committing perjury rather. And who's lying, right? Now he tried to, yes, make sure y'all hitting the like button. Thank you so much. Come on in and hit the like button, okay? And send a gift to your girl. A super chat would help as well because we know videos like these don't really, I didn't want to say it. I ain't even gonna put it out there, but definitely come on in here and look your girl out. So yep, Senator Kennedy let her right out the door. He surely did. But the thing about it, what I'm hearing is the fact that he was able to question her in this way, in a very flagrant way. He kind of insinuated that the media company which she paid this money was only formed 11 days before she actually, started the payments and started the commercials, which all screams red flag, all screams, whatever. And he even said, listen, we all have friends who are qualified here, but the company that you paid for, this $220 million only came into formation 11 days before all of this had went down, which is, y'all, that is alarming as hell. I mean, if you've never seen corruption, it's here knocking on our front door. No, not 125 million, $220 million on ads. Okay, $220 million on ads is what the lady is saying that she spent, and which the president also approved. Now, he reported back to Senator Kennedy and saying that, like, no, well, I didn't know that she was spending that much money. And even if he can go on record, off record, by way and by proxy of Senator Kennedy saying, I ain't tell that lady to spend that money, it's still very concerning because how come $220 million can just be spent on some TV advertisement, guys? TV commercials, which apparently featured a lot of her. So they try to discredit her, saying that she's over there hunching on somebody who's, a subordinate of hers, da da da. Da. And because she made this statement on Capitol Hill for everybody and for the world to see, it was kind of clear, like somebody in the comments said, Senator Kennedy kind of ushered her right on out the door because nobody really is able to kind of question his people like this. So enters the chat MARKWAYNE MULLIN. I feel like I didn't like, he's just a senator out of, well, wait, pause. Let me back up. So Kristi Noem also too, she, outside of the congressional grilling, she had faced intense criticism during like her most recent committee hearings. She also too faced a lot of backlash for the botched operations that was happening in Minneapolis. Oh, that word tears me up. Minneapolis. That word tears me up. So basically, they were just saying, like, we need somebody else who can handle this. The girl can't handle it. I mean, she's a nice look. And I think because they are right wingers, MAGA people, all of these different things, I feel like, hold on one second, y'all. I need y'all to like this video because I feel I just came back and I'm looking, no likes, and we have people in here. We gotta follow the directions, y'all. Follow the directions. Step into the light, Craig. Make sure y'all liking the video. Tap, tap, tap in. Okay, thank you so much. Um, all right, let's start this call real quick. Okay. So, in addition to her spending all of that money, she also too faced a lot of criticism during the whole Minneapolis scandal, and obviously the unfortunate unaliving of Renee Good and Alex Purdy. And so I think that a lot of like I want to say Republicans were just feeling like she was unable to kind of handle the high profile immigration surge and how it was translating into the media. And so then we see her now at the congressional hearings, and she's saying that he personally signed off on that $220 million tax funder ad campaign. Okay. And I think that it was like, okay, girl, you wanna be out here playing like, giving out the real secrets. Like, no, absolutely not. We got to get you out of here. We have to get you out of here. And although she's a cute face, nice gowns, beautiful gowns, because let's be clear, these type of men think like that. They think that because, ICE is going to be what it's going to be, right? But if we have this lady who she can look, she can talk good, she can look nice, the people down in Louisiana will be nice to her and say nice things, then possibly it can work in our favor. I don't believe that they believe in equality for women in the way that most people should. I just do not believe that. You won't convince me of that. So I think she checked a few of those boxes. She was willing to play and she was willing to kind of get in there. And but she played and she kind of crapped out. All right. And one thing we know about Trump, he is running this country like he would his TV show. Okay, you're fired. And so he literally fires her today. Now, um, I think that because he is just on this very escalated path right now, um, I think it makes sense. I want to say it doesn't even make sense, but it does make sense. It really does make sense. And he chooses MARKWAYNE Mullin, who is a senator from Oklahoma, I believe, and he explicitly said that his background, guys, as a professional MMA fighter and his undefeated record, okay, was making him qualified because he had the wisdom and the courage to advance America First agenda. His undefeated professional MMA fighter record is what he is going to base his decision off. Now, granted, he was already a senator of Oklahoma, which he has been a long-standing MAGA warrior, if you will. And so, he feels like, yeah, well, he was already supporting me. He is a fighter, both figuratively and, politically. I want to just say that I did a little research, y'all. He has an undefeated record. He had 5 fights. Not to try to take anything away from him, but y'all know I am a sports commentator now. Check your girl out. Um, yeah, he only had 5 fights, which, if a man is stepping into that ring, especially an MMA fighter, more power to you. But I just want to, for anybody who's wondering, he's 5-0. So, Mullen has consistently framed mass deportation as a legal obligation and has been a vocal supporter of ICE since the beginning, right? And he's come out and said things like ICE agents aren't Disney villains. Um, he's Trump's new guy. He's Trump's new guy, and it kind of feels like, well, where did he come from? He kind of just emerged out of nowhere, and I'm telling you right now, this is the new phase and we're entering into a new phase, right? If he's going hard and heavy and, you know, over Baghdad for Iran, I mean, he feels like, this whole Renee situation has gotten out of hand and we need somebody who's going to go in here and fight the good fight. Now, he has been very politically loyal to Trump, which that is one of his markers. Like, you have to be able to kiss the rings, you have to be able to keep the secrets. And he has been one of the most aggressive defenders in the Senate, frequently clashing with the union leaders and political opponents. He's going to go for his man. He has a fighter image, and we know that image means a lot to someone like Trump. The optics mean a lot. This is why he's over there building and renewing and restoring, and the gold and the this and the East Wing and everything like this. So he feels like, his physical aesthetic, um, and this tough guy image is a good fit, right? Because then he can rally up boys and make them even more, um, I don't want to say violent, but violent. Okay. I think that it's important to understand who this guy is and why he's choosing him in the way that he is. This guy, as far as I can see from what I gather, before the Senate, he was just the second congressional district in the House of Representatives for several years. He won election in 2022 to fill the seat of a retiring senator, which, like, he's a classic politician. He's a classic politician. And I feel that when you look at somebody like a Jasmine Crockett, not to take away anything away from her, but when people are in the space of politicking for the sake of politics, they know how the game plays. They know how the game works. And so they're going to do the thing. They're going to turn a blind eye. They're going to earmark that money. They're going to spend $220 million of taxpayers' monies on advertising. Like, you know what I mean? And some of these approaches, I mean, $220 million on advertising, it's almost as if, like, what are we doing? Like, the corruption level just seems to go so deep. And one of the things that really stood out to me about Trump in his first term was how he would handle, and the questions around how his temperament would be in handling Putin. Vladimir Putin is a leader of Russia. I was about to say the Soviet Union. Shit, it might as well be. Are they the Soviet Union now? I don't know. Whatever. It feels like it. But one thing that I remember Donald Trump saying about Vladimir Putin is the fact that he's like, yeah, well, I mean, like, I don't respect the way that he politics, but I mean, the guy's a strong leader. He's a tough leader. I like the way that he rules. He's definitely certainly a tough guy, and he would need a tough guy to kind of talk. I mean, I don't know him, but I respect his leadership because he's tough, right? And running up against Hillary or even Joe Biden, whoever the fuck he was at the time, like, the optics of this strong man who can rule with an iron fist. And if you know anything about their politics, I mean, they are completely censored. The corruption runs deep. They are framing and poisoning and taking businesses from all of their richest oligarchs and everything like this, which is why we see him aligned with Elon Musk, right? I think it's the same thing that's happening here. We look at all of these other countries, all these developing nations, all the corruption is so crazy. The corruption is this, the corruption is at $220 million, guys. And we're literally fighting at the state level if people can get funds for childcare subsidy for states that we know are not even making seven or over 7.25 an hour. Hello? Is anybody home? Okay. And so what I just feel like what we're seeing is just such a blatant um disregard for the quality of life of American people, a disregard for our ability to critically think, and to understand, like, no, this isn't rain and you're actually pissing on me. Right? He's getting all of his boys, everybody who's involved. You gotta be down with the Brazown in order to get down. Okay. He needs some, broccoli bit bookies. on the dead homies. They might as well just be a gang at this point and call it what it is. And that's one of the things that Vladimir Putin did. He got all of his people when he became prime minister, all of his homeboys from his hometown became politicians. And so obviously Trump was a guy who was very removed from people and he was a very rich person. Let him say I'm very rich. So he can only go off of how hard that he did this person go for me when I was campaigning. And apparently Mullen was a guy who was a Trump supporter since day one. He's aligned with MAGA, America First Wing, and he has been for some time. So he was also a businessman, former MMA fighter in a whatever. But apparently he's a Native American too, child. I need some real people, some real journalists to check into that because he's a enrolled member of the Cherokee Nation, child. Yeah, I don't know how that goes, but whatever. We'll see how that that lines up. So we have this new guy. He's willing to kiss the rings, and I am. I just think that we're going to be moving into a stronger, more tighter grip in a phase two of what ICE looks like in the Department of Homeland Security. Um, and protest, people going out and voicing their opinions and, policies and procedures and what should it all look like. Guys, make sure we're liking this video. It's a lot of us in here, babe. Let's make sure we're liking the video. He's a puppet and a useful idiot. Oh my gosh, yes. Make sure we are liking the video. I love a super chat. I love a gift. Like, let's get into the things. Let's get into the things. Let me look at some of the comments. Um, Yeah, the majority of people self-supported. Yeah, okay. Yep. Yep. I agree. So anyway, getting over and more into his tea. I think it's kind of really unbelievable that he just fired this lady, kind of just like, you know what, she said this, we're gonna pull her, you're fired. It's just an indication of his unwillingness to go through proper channels. And I do think that there is a level of proper channels and how the government works is slow, right? It's a slow machine, and sometimes you have to move fast. But when we're talking about just taking one person out, putting one person in, and they're already doing things that's never been done before, it's obviously going to be human error, a learning curve, and people get hurt like that, guys. And not just immigrants and people who are here illegally and people who are here legally, but also too, workers, ICE agents, right? Paramilitary groups, because so much is happening. You're stressed out. You're not sleeping. You feel away. The wife was bitching. Like it could be so many different things with all of these changes overnight. You think about your regular job, your 9 to 5, that you've worked at for 6 months, and all of a sudden there's a new CEO. Instantly, there's going to be a fucking change, right? You feel it almost immediately, right? I mean, you have to now adapt to that. So that causes a certain level of stress. Um, and the fact that he just did it today, it was like, it was unbelievable. She was the first cabinet secretary to be removed in Trump's second term. I mean, again, you're fired. He doesn't care. He's playing a TV show, he's playing a role, and he's playing in people's faces. Um, he has praised her before, saying she has spectacular results on the border. But I think again, the things that was happening in Minneapolis and that $220 million thing, I mean, like, oh my God, like that was crazy. I watched a little bit of the congressional hearing. There was also a question about her luxury jets. She purchased two Gulfstream G700 aircraft and the lease of a Boeing 737 using DHS funds. Now, where the hell is she going? And why does she need that? Okay. Now, he didn't fire her completely and condemn her. He said that he's going to appoint her and reassign her as the special envoy for the Shield of the Americas. Now, this is going to be something that he's announcing this Saturday at a summit in Florida. Of course, I think Florida is the appropriate place for him to she was as unqualified as she, you're not lying. So he's going to announce some new whatever it is, girl. Um yeah, but when you're in the position like the president, you have to have loyalty and integrity around you, sure, but you also too have to have loyalty and integrity around you. Okay, the president himself has to have a little piece of integrity and loyalty. Okay, who has he been loyal to? I can't even say he's been completely open and loyal to the American people. $220 million, and we're talking and arguing about free lunch in schools. Guys, make sure we're liking the video. Make sure you like the video, guys. If you're in here, hi, I'm Jeray Malay, the girl from Runaway, where we have culture, conversation, and community. We talk about popular topics, hot topics in a way that helps us reshape and reframe our paradigm. So if you like any of those things, make sure you like this video. Send your girl a super chat, okay? Give me a cute little, quick little gift. Subscribe to the channel. Stick around because we get into these things here frequently and often, and we talk about them in a way that just helps us get into the things, right? So, oh my God, I just seen this new summer 2028. Yes. Oh my God. Wait, pause. Let me go back to you. I just saw that. I can't see it anymore. How did I miss that? Please and thank you. Um so we're getting into what? Okay. So this new thing that he's creating, girl. I'm going to follow up with this I guess on Saturday, which for me is in a few hours. Um the Shield of Americas. Now, I'm like, what the is this, right? So, I guess this is a security initiative focused on the Western Hemisphere. It aims to dismantle cartels, stop drug trafficking, and coordinate border security with Latin American allies like Argentina and El Salvador. Now, I think that that makes sense for him to try to do something like this after the whole thing with Venezuela. Um, but the ties between America and Argentina have been deep for a while. That makes sense. Um, but it also too for me just gives him an opportunity just to continue to do what he fucking wants. Because when you're making all of these different and special and separate security and separate little alliances and separate little things, you're starting off completely new. You're going to be the constructor of something. You are going to be the one to designate who's who and what's what and how it's ran. And almost always it is ungoverned and there's no checks and balances. And there's only one person at the head who really he appoints, and typically, they don't really have any accountability, right? There is no real systems for how ICE is reprimanded, how the police are even policed, how the police can be um, monitored or have some sort of quality assurance. Every profession has a sort of checks and balances, right? Or at least they should. If you felt like your doctor could just do whatever he wanted to do and it didn't have to speak for nothing, on open heart surgery, I'm sure you would be a little paranoid. Somebody needs somebody to answer to. And when you create something like this out of thin air, you can structure it the way you want to or not structure it the way that you want to. And it's just like the wild, wild west. Oh, well, while we're learning, we're figuring it out. It's like building an airplane while you are in the sky already. You're already in the air. And again, in all fairness, I think that the Democrats are very old and very slow and shit doesn't happen quick enough. And then on the opposite, and I don't even want to say that he represents the Republican Party because honestly, a lot of what he's doing, a lot of Republicans don't like this shit. I'm completely fucking honest with you. Um, he's given extremist. I just feel like this is something completely different. I could be wrong. If you're a Republican, drop down in the comments. But I do believe that most Republicans still feel like there needs to be proper channels and, adherence to, at the minimum, the Constitution and the law, right? So the president fighting against the drug cartels is a good or bad thing. I mean, it's a good or bad thing depending on if he's actually fighting against the drug cartels or not. If that's what he's actually doing. A lot of what they talked about for ICE was about in targeting the cartels. We ain't seen them lock up no cartel bus yet. Where are the cartel members at then? We see Renee Good and Alex and everybody like this. We ain't seen a cartel bus yet. They ain't bust a grape in a fruit fight yet. Where they at then? He the most fighting is that for it to be so many cartels and this, that, and the third. ICE ain't run into a cartel yet. Only Renee and women and children. You feel what I'm saying? If y'all gonna be out there then. They want to play in the schoolyard. Nah, get out there in the field, you know? And don't get me wrong, I do believe that there is a need for tighter security at the borders, right? In Mexico, Canada, all of that. I believe that, guys. It is not lost on me. I am not green to that. I'm not unaware. I do believe it. But I ain't seen no cartel member yet. You hear what I'm saying? Outside of the one he went to go get in motherfucking Venezuela. Okay? By way of Delta Force. So, again, he's creating all of these different branches and initiatives, which he is going to reign supreme and going to do exactly what he wants to do. So he stated that um he wanted to have something that was more for the Latin America area. I don't know. It just feels like a ploy for him to just have his arm in an international stage a little deeper, a little further. He can hide it under the anti-cartel and trafficking thing. I don't know. I think that if I had to guess, there's going to be some aspects of could be cyber defense, um, maybe maybe to like strengthen some technology and infrastructure from being exploited by foreign actors. I would hope. One would hope. The fucking power grid, perhaps. I hope it's not only about cartels and everything like this, but we'll see. We'll talk about it tomorrow if you guys are willing and it'd like to hear my thoughts on it. But the biggest cartel member last week in Mexico, the bus was in the biggest cartel member last week. Oh yeah, that's when. Well, that was the first one in Mexico, right? Somebody got somebody and that's when they were down in Playa de. It wasn't Cancun. It was yeah. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. But I mean, look at that in comparison to all of the people who have been terrorized in the United States. And what people don't understand about cartels, it runs very similarly to like terrorist groups, right? And this is why they're trying to change the classification to treat cartels like terrorist groups because as soon as you take one out, the uncle, the daddy, the little brother steps right on in. There's always someone to replace them, right? And so it's not a war that you can fight in this traditional sense of, okay, bad guy gone, problem solved. It does not work like that. History has shown that. Um, anyway, he took the girl off the DHS, Department of Homeland, and tried to make it seem like she was getting a promotion to a more global facing role. Um, and said it's kind of like a graceful exit, but we all know that's not true. I think that maybe she's so deep in there that she can kind of pivot and transfer somewhere else. She's going to be the face, the special convoy. She's going to be the face of this initiative and working to recruit Latin American presidents into the alliance. So it's going to be, like a NATO situation, I would imagine. Like a Soviet bloc, like not a Soviet bloc, but like a NATO situation where surrounding and different countries can kind of come together and work towards, protecting the Americas, girl. um, the Venezuela president was the first cartel member they busted. I agree. Yeah, I agree. Um, so we'll see how that all plays out. But I mean, very quickly, I want to get into Iran a little bit. Y'all want to get into Iran a little bit? Y'all want to get into Iran or what? That's when somebody put in the chat, yes, I want to get into Iran. Or no, let's continue talking about this new made up initiative that's going to allow for Trump to continue to do whatever the fuck he want to do like he been doing. What y'all saying in the chat? I can't see nothing. I reminisce on the love we had. My like should be way up, guys. Y'all should be liking this. Either or. Thank you, thinker. Peace and love to you, sister. Um, you see me in my political bag tonight, girl. Add political pundit to the resume. Cultural commentator, sports commentator, and now political pundit. I love it. Thank you so much, Alex. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Peace and love to you. Give me one thing you think Trump is doing great job at. A great job at. Give me one thing you think Trump is doing a great job at. I think that Trump is doing a great job at protecting his vested interest. I think that he is doing a great job at not giving a fuck. I think that he's doing a great job at following his instinct and impulses. I think that he's doing a great job at like executing literally and figuratively, right? Now, I will say that I think that Trump has the ability to gather some group of people, gather him and his homeboys and his homegirls, and be like, you know what? We finna do it. Right? Right, wrong, or different. Okay. I think that he does a good job at mobilizing. And that's something that I think that other parties and other political nominees and contenders should take away from. Everything doesn't have to be so 20 years later, 2 terms later. Now, obviously, you want to be careful because all of these little small steps have major, major impacts and implications, right? And I don't think that he's accounting for it. But I do like that he's able to say, hey, this is what I want to do. And let's try to do it. Let's try to do it. It's the year of the horse, guys. If you're into any type of astrology, he's an action taker. At the minimum, we can give him that. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. You can tell me one thing you think he's doing great at. Okay, he's doing great at sticking to the story. Okay, whatever the story is, he's sticking to that story. He don't give a damn. And that's a fact, baby. So, okay, I wanted to get into Iran a little bit. A quick story. So the other day I woke up around 5:30 and I was on the road around 6. And I know daylight savings is going to come soon, so the sky looked a little different. It's been a little foggy here on the East Coast, but I was driving and I was driving to school, and I'm seeing all of the school buses. They don't even have the kids on their buses yet. And I'm just seeing how everybody is just moving in the AM. You know how you pay attention to things differently when you're not on your driving on your commute at the regular time. So I'm driving and I'm just watching everything, and I'm like, wow, like people are just moving and grooving in their life. Monday morning, here we are, bow, getting to it. We got to get to this job. We got to figure out how we got to pay for these groceries, how we got to do all of these different things. And it made me a little sad. I'm not going to lie. It made me a little sad because it's like, yo, people are literally, not here. There's a piece of the world that is devastated right now. That's in complete uproar and devastation. And here we are. Doodaloo. Let me stop at Dunkin' and get my refresher, and let me get my latte, and whatever. It's just like business as usual or politics as usual. Wow. Jay-Z got a song called Politics as Usual. You feel me? So I don't know. That just kind of really stuck with me for whatever reason. I'm old enough to be aware of different wars that we have been in as Americans. And I don't know, this one just seemed a little just different to me. Well, anyway, I don't really know much about like the real reasons behind it. It's so hard to kind of get into what's real and what's not. And he's always hollering the fake news, fake media. Now, shit is so convoluted and so just backward. You don't know who's who and what's what. I got to read 10 articles to feel like, okay, I have at least an idea of what's going on. So, um, you know, Iran, honestly, they don't always operate above board. Okay. To be completely honest with you, they do things that are flagrant. They hide terrorists. They go to war by proxy. And the tensions have been simmering for years, right? And I can see why, if they were going to go into negotiations, I just feel like it was kind of I don't know. It's not impulsive because this has been going on. This has been going on. Um, there's I don't even want to say it, but nuclear weapons, right? Weapons of mass destruction. And whatever, they found some sort of like uranium that's in an underground facility that was uh I guess left after different attempts to sabotage. And so the US interpreted it as proof, like, okay, listen, you got a nuclear breakout, right? Let's go get them. They got, uranium there. And that's enough to make that. If you guys don't know, uranium is what's needed to make and power nuclear weapons, right? And so uranium is a type of element that you can't have all in one space because it's critical that you don't keep it in close proximity to one another just because of the pure element of it. And so it's spaced out. They got some surveillance. This is why it's the US Israeli combo. They got some surveillance that they still have some uranium over there. And it's like, no, we got to get what we need to get because Iran, they say, is, secretly supports other terrorist groups. I don't want to have to say who, but if we're talking about Israel, you can kind of guess. So, um, and just because this sounds crazy, but I'm going to say it. Just because a country has uranium doesn't mean that they have access to make nuclear weapons, or at least not to the degree in which we have advanced technology. That sounds counterintuitive, but it's just the truth. Do your own research. Um, why I say it like that? Because it's the truth. It really is. But I just feel like they wanted a reason. They really wanted a reason. This is why it's the U.S. Israeli situation, heavy on the U.S. Israeli. Um, Shia wages war because you are different. Yes, Shia is a different than Sunni, and they are a different type of people. I don't disagree with that. Larson Christopher, I don't disagree with that. Shia law is different. Hold on. Alexander said, as a lifelong Democrat until last election, when the Democrats tried to have Joe Biden's medical issue, that was my last straw. I'm an independent. I mean, I could at this point, at this point, at this point, at this point. Um, yeah, so we know that a lot of these Muslim terrorist groups have been moving and mobilizing. Some people say that they are in pockets of some African countries. I don't really necessarily have to name them. We know that some African countries are being backed by Russia. There is a lot of proxy wars that are happening. And so I think that they was like, fuck it, boom, let's just hit it then. Y'all want to hit it? Let's just hit it. But the thing about Iran is that it's what people are describing as an asymmetric war because although they may have some drones, although they may have some weapons and everything like this, um, they don't have the capability in which we have, and or even what Israel has, right? Our technology is different. They don't have aircraft, fighter jets. They don't have all of these things, but they have these, relatively cheaper nuclear drones that they can send over and they can bomb, but they're not going to be able to make long distances, right? But this is why we're seeing so many smaller attacks because they're trying to target centers and places where they know it's going to hurt economically. And so you saw them attack like an oil um facility. They attacked a hotel in Dubai. They are attacking things that are going to have a direct impact to the economy, right? Because, it's not like they're going to be able to fight at the same level as the United States can. The military from the United States, they're not going to be able to do that. Um, but they can attack things specifically. Okay. And so when they moved, or attacked Bahrain or Qatar, I don't know whichever one it was, it immediately spiked global oil prices immediately. And so when you have something like, okay, well, the oil prices are going up, so the people are under pressure, nobody really wants this war, it adds a level of element, it adds a different like psychological element to the war. And honestly, if I can't fight you, it's like if I don't have the skills to really box you in the face, maybe I can get you on the ankles and cut your motherfucking tendon, and eventually you can fall, right? And I think that maybe is the tactic. I don't know. Shit, you know what I mean? Who fucking knows? What I do know is uh I am extremely saddened by the people who are stuck overseas. I just seen a lady who she's a teacher from South Philly. And she's basically like, yeah, we didn't know that we were supposed to leave. We never got any warnings, and now we're just getting notices that we can't leave. There is no help from the embassy. We just got to be here, and you can hear the bombs going off, you can hear the drones going off. And I think I saw some reports. I didn't see it with my own eyes, but I seen several sources say that Trump was like, basically, well, it's, there are going to be some casualties, which is the truth when it comes to war, right? There's going to be some civilian deaths. There's going to, oh, I can't even say there's some civilian casualties, and everything like this. And I saw this one guy, he's talking about, oh, there's no slight in American will to defeat them and this, that, and the third. It's like, yo, Americans, for real, we don't want to be at war with no fucking Iran. Not when they were in the talks. Like, it just feels like I want to look strong. Again, going back to the Mullen guy. I want to look strong. I want to be perceived in this way. Why are we as a country with all of this advanced technology bombing and just obliterating these people, you know, because we can, and they can't even, like, honestly even fight back if they wanted to, you know? Um I don't know. I want to gather more information first to really talk about it, but I think that, him saying that he has to be the one that's involved with the regime change, right? They maybe asked his son to do it. He dismissed it, saying that his son was a lightweight and unacceptable. Like, who the fuck are you to tell these people who they can and cannot have? Which, I mean, it makes sense, because if the daddy was like that, then of course the son is going to be like that. But like, why are you, as the leader of the free world, over there trying to dictate, brother? Why is milk $1,000? The Democrats came up this new word, affordability. Like, what? That ain't no new word. What are we talking about? They came up with a new word, groceries. Like, what? So he's over there dictating and telling them people who they can and who they cannot be. He's urging the Iranian citizens to rise up and take back your country, and promising them total immunity from the US if they, help topple the remaining of their leadership, which essentially, to me, if we're looking at it from an international standpoint, that sounds a little like inciting a coup, right? Does it not seem like he's interfering and trying to tell them people, like, yeah, well, you'll have full immunity. Just go ahead and get it in, and go ahead and get it in, right? That's what it sounds like to me. And it's just like, we're not even acknowledging international law either. All right. But we know he ain't going to acknowledge national law, but even international law, you don't give a damn. Like, golly. And then he was asked about oil prices, and he's like, yeah, sure, it's going to go up for a little minute, but eventually it'll go back down. When? Well, when? And he says it so casual and cavalier. It's like, oh my God. Like, it's unbelievable. Iran is saying that, United States, America isn't safe anywhere. I mean, what does that actually mean, though? What does that actually mean? for people who are American citizens around the world, right? I don't know, guys. It's just peculiar times, and everybody's gonna go to bed tonight. I'm gonna go to bed soon and shortly, and then we're gonna wake up and we're gonna work and we're gonna move on. And there are people, there are children, whether they are from America or not, um, whether you know, whatever. Like it's really just unfortunate, right? And I just feel like the last nuclear weapon was used in, I don't know, 1960 something or whatever. And the fact that we're still entering in and having these conversations today, knowing how destructive these weapons are, knowing what we're up against, is just like, are we falling back into the Cold War truly in 2026, nigga? That's what we doing. Oh, thank you, Alexander. I'm just seeing this. Thank you. You understand the BRICS nations and what its purpose is? I mean, vaguely, very vaguely, but I think that, does it matter at this point? If he's doing whatever the fuck he wants to do, what I understand what international law is too. That doesn't mean that it's gonna apply, you know. But I mean, I'm curious to know how it makes sense. I think that maybe, it has something to do with people trying to keep them from gaining more power and more momentum, but why is that such a bad thing? Like, nobody was against the European Union, and now, people are excited. Or at some point, remember, um what is it, Ukraine was supposed to be a part of the European Union. So if these people want to collaborate and do that, like, I don't understand why we have to be involved in everything. So if you want to shed some light, I'd love to hear what you have to say and give some more insight on that. um Iran's breaking international law and has attacked 12 nations, civilians, and national laws. Is cooked. No, honestly, the cost of this war is $11 per second as we speak. That will rise the longer the war goes on, and will go on, and we're in trouble. Yeah, and that's not even considering if we're still helping. We're still back in Israel. We're still back in Ukraine. I don't even know what that's about. And we still and we're still paying the Taliban. Like, come on, y'all. Yes, per second. The Ayatollah made it a thought a crime to build nukes around 2 decades ago. Right, right. But didn't wasn't Russia caught still making nukes? And just because they have uranium doesn't mean that they're making nukes either, y'all. Yep, Iran was getting close to the nukes. I'm glad we not waiting and striking first. I mean, okay. Let's go take Russia's oil, since we just taken Venezuela's, Iran, and Russia's bowed down to Trump. Might as well take the make. Okay, well, I mean, at this point, it might be what's up next. Jake, even the U.S. internal documents reveal that Iran was not building nukes. Right? Yes, I saw that. I didn't see that, but I did read that somewhere. Like, they're not in a position to build, even, and just because they had uranium doesn't mean that they were going to build the nukes. And I believe that to be true. Remember back in the day, like, if you guys know anything about the Cold War, like, they pretended like they had all of these nuclear weapons, all of this nuclear, firearms and fire, weaponry and everything, and turns out they had nothing, right? Like, y'all, these countries, sure, they have some money, but with heavy corruption, it doesn't stretch the way that they need to. And if we're not careful, $220 million on just advertising. He talking about some, he ain't know about it. That's all the way around the board wrong. If she spent that money, $220 million, for some motherfucking commercials, and then he didn't even know about it, I'm mad. I'm pissed off at both of those options, honestly. India stands with Iran. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't even know India entered the chat. Um, if it was about the oil, um, Yeah, Senate Bear Trump, he doesn't have bone spurs. And he was 6'7" 5 months ago, and all of a sudden he's 6'9", 7 foot. Basketball players have served in our military. Exceptions can be made. Honestly and truly, and I just feel like that's the part for me. Like there are people, real lives, who are going to be impacted by this. And it's just like, all right, yeah, oil's going up, people going to die. Oh well. Okay. Oil's going up, people going, oh well, you know. And I just don't like the complete disregard for human life when, you know, things can be, I want to say resolved, but girl, it's stressing out me and my homegirls. I know when they first attacked Iran, I don't keep saying we, when those people first attacked Iran, the New Jersey State Police put out a post basically saying like we're not under, like there's no need to worry, this and the third, because there was just misinformation that was going around. Guys, I dropped the link if you want to come up here and give us some details. If you know more about what's going on, if you want to share your opinion, I just dropped the link. I put it in the chat and I also put it in the community tab. If you guys want to come up and share some of your thoughts, give us the common folks some information, and we can kind of continue the conversation, because I like to hear from some people who have different and varying opinions. I would rather deal with Iran than here in the States. Yeah, well, see, I mean, like, I get that, and and I do believe that there has to be a certain level of I don't know. Yes, there has to be a certain level of interaction on the world stage because of who we are, but we see how that works out, right? You see how we just pulled out of Afghanistan. What a mess, And so, yeah, we need to be in Iran, but then for how long? And then how many lives and how many people and for what price? For what price? Guys, like at what point, you know? I'm gonna get into these comments and I'm gonna chill up here for a little bit. If anybody want to come up and add to the conversation, what do you guys think? How do you feel about Trump? Is he doing the right decision? Is he making the right decision? Are we happy that we're in Iran? Are we happy about the newly appointed the head of Department of Homeland Security? Are we happy about these decisions? Okay. Y'all can go to my community tab and join the conversation. You guys don't understand. They have supersonic weapons that Israel can defend itself against. No, the fuck they don't, Tony. No, they don't. Who told you that? Where'd you see that at? Probably in one of those ads that was under that $220 million umbrella. Supersonic weapons. Iran has that's like saying Afghanistan have weapons of mass destruction. No, they don't. I would rather deal with Iran and Iran than here in the States. Now, Tommy Brown Jr., I agree with that again. I read that already. At Tony, so what if they do? Maybe Israel should stop that expansionist programs. Oof. I mean, like, who gets to decide if people have a right to defend their nation and themselves? Like, this is where it gets sticky. Like, was Rush Limbaugh anyone there? I can't even understand what you're saying. What is that? Pigeon? Epic City Foreign in Texas International. What the hell? India has the biggest protest for Iran in every major cities of India after terrorist U.S. and Israel kills spiritual leader of Iran. Trump fell for a Looney Tunes style deception. He bombed jets that were painted on the floor. Oh my god! Oh my goodness. That is hilarious as hell. I needed that laugh. Thank you for that. Thank you for that laugh. Um, let's see. Iran's getting more uranium. Eventually they will be back to a nuke. No, no, that's not how it works. Um, they would eventually target Israel nuclear facilities. These people are Persians who had empires in biblical times. Yes, Iran is considered to be modern day Persia. Yes, 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 that's true. And that's another thing too. Like, I just this whole like U.S. Israeli um connection is just getting bizarre. Welcome to the United States of Israel. Like, what the fuck are we really even doing with that? Which, I think that Israel should defend itself in the way that it should, expanding not so much. But, you know, I I just don't like how it's like US is really attacks, US is really attacks, US is really it's almost like they're priming the public for this merge of some sorts. Like it's given more than just ally, right? And again, Israel is a country of only 9 million people, but it controls a large portion of the wealth. They have super advanced weaponry. And on top of that, there are many people who are in the military who would say and really highly suggest that the Israeli, special ops and intelligence groups operate better, more efficiently than Americans, honestly. And a part of that is because of, Netanyahu's lack for human life and empathy in that way. And I think that Trump is looking for the MMA fighter, the machismo macho MAGA man. And so, yeah, I'm gonna need that. Do you need that? They will eventually target Israel. Okay, and then was Trump here in Colorado. Epstein, Israel. I know somebody. I know I am somebody. Everybody loves him. Mm, you sound like a beauty. Thank you. I think President Trump loves America, and he's doing an outstanding job. Just my opinion. Okay, thank you for your opinion, Alexander Bryan. What makes you think that he's doing an outstanding job? Okay, you gotta give us why. Why is he doing an outstanding job? Google it. They already have. You're from Turkey or Turkey? Am I saying that right? Yeah. Trump did say he loved the uneducated. He did. He said he loved the uneducated and he loved the blacks. The blacks, they love me. The Iranians love Trump. He has 80 million followers in Iran. I mean, that was what I was confused on. There were some Iranian Americans who were just so excited in California, so happy, so happy that, the leader was gone. And I'm thinking to myself, well, are they paid actors under the $220 million that lady took from the fucking DHS funds? For all I know, they always like to say that, oh, they were fake Antifa's leftists, they weren't really when people do stuff like that, that's because they're actually doing it. Vladimir Putin, guys, study Vladimir Putin. Oh my god, look at this spider. Oh my god, look at this spider. Oh, oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh. Oh. She was coming right on down to the bed. Oh my god. I just had to fight off a spider. Mm-mm-mm-mm. I'm over here fighting for my life. And y'all can't even hit the like button for your girl. It's crazy out here. Supersonic is the speed of the missile. Okay. I'll do more research, Tony. I'm not gonna just dismiss you since I need to do better. Okay. Those are the US is most likely involved in every major wars around the world. US colonialism isn't justified in the world. It's waking up to US and Israeli war crimes on human beings. I would fucking hope. And where is Britain in all of this shit? Where are they at? It's always our fucking money. Trump is doing a great job. Tell me why. I dropped the link. Israel is funded complete by the USA. What are you talking about? Israel produces nothing. I mean, that's not true. Um, but they are funded. They're completely funded. We definitely give them lots of aid, lots of support, but they have their own intelligence groups and everything. I am aware most Americans don't understand the geopolitics between Shia and Sunnis. Iran fought alongside the U.S. in Iraq. Yeah. So I know a little bit about it, not a lot. And, I know that there's a lot of like xenophobia that happens within the Middle East and the different tribes and everything like this. I didn't know that Iran fought alongside the US in Iraq in the global war terrorism. Is that when they fought together? Trump has big balls, but I do know that they are completely different groups of people. They practice differently, and a lot of the extreme laws come from the Shia, the Shia group. The Shia, that's why it's called like Shia law. They go by the Quran. The women can't do. They're in the house. This is where we get the Taliban and all of the extremist groups. Sunnis, if you want to make it very plain for those who don't understand, Sunnis are more liberal and the Shias are more extreme. Trump has had big balls and just people can't just handle it. I mean, no, it's not that you can have big balls, but it's different when you have somebody's 19 and 18-year-old son who just signed up for the military going over to a place because he feels like, yeah, well, so what? There's casualties of war. People die every day. Like there's a difference with that, hun. You know? Who's supporting terrorists? What are you talking about? David, stick around. Um, yeah, spiritual leaders who wish death upon millions of people. I agree. I agree with that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything about the Iranian leader. I don't know anything about them, but I know that there are spiritual leaders like Osama bin Laden. To some, he was a fucking spiritual leader, right? And he wished death on millions of people. I don't disagree with that. Um, I agree with this too. We really don't need Israel to do this, however, what you guys have to understand, talking about geopolitics, geographically, Israel is a good place for us to have an ally, right? They're right there in the middle of everything. So, you know, what? You know what I mean? What about it? Thank you for the super chat. Let's go to you, Tommy Brown. Thank you. I appreciate you so much. I appreciate the super chat. I thought you was going to ask me a nice little question. You just wanted to give me a little quick love donation. I appreciate you, brother. Um, Iraq was mainly Sunni. ISIS are Sunni. Even Al Qaeda are Sunni. The Iranian Shia fought against the Sunni extremist. Let me double check that. I don't recall that being true off the top of my head. If you're MAGA, you think that you could love me. Could you love me? Could you love me in the daytime? Okay. Could you love me in the MAGA apparently if you MAGA, you can't be with a black woman. Um America is millions more historically than all other nations. Uh Combined, your country was formed by the indigenous native people. You are not incorrect. You are absolutely correct, Tony. You are absolutely correct. America has committed catastrophic crimes against humanity. Not just here on this land, but other lands. So I agree completely. Yeah. I mean, you are not wrong. We have. They have. I keep saying we because I'm here in America, but honestly and truly, this is true. Um, there are MAGA black women though. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, are there MAGA black women? Um, I don't know of any. America fuck that leave. I mean, honestly, If Greenland will have me, I'd gladly go. Holland, what used to be Holland. Looks like Trump is taking Ozempic. They are Persian, not Arabic. Yeah, but like that was back in the day. They're considered Arabic now. Cap, they're considered Arabic now, but historically that area was the Persian Empire. Mm, it's not so, it's so sad that people are giving justification of U.S. and Israel on invasion of Iran, Iraq, Palestine, Afghanistan, Libya, etc. I mean, you don't think? I mean, Afghanistan was justified, right? A little bit, not because of the war, the weapons of mass destruction, but they were on a mission. She is right wing. Who's right wing? Who's right wing? Who the hell? Oh, Candace Owen. Candace Owen is a conservative. I don't believe she's MAGA though. There's a difference. There is a difference. And this is what I'm trying to tell people. Um, there are people who are more right leaning. There are people who are conservative. There are people who are just outright Republicans and they don't agree with MAGA and the antics, period, point blank, guys. MAGA is a little like overboard. The Arabs, yeah, they are. But they were considered, that was the Persian Empire back in the day. People who don't think Iranians are not Persian, they're not Persian anymore. It's like, so like, I remember when I used to look at the map back in the day, like whatever, when I was a kid growing up, like India was just India. India was just India, right? And then suddenly India is now Asian. Like, oh, I'm Asian. I'm Asian. I'm Eurasian. Like that's a fairly new concept. It used to be the continent of Asia, right? And then there was India. Do y'all remember that? Whole Middle East Arabs, including Israel. I mean, to let people tell it, motherfucking Egypt. Egypt is the Middle East too. Then, huh? They're Arabs too. Then, right? Trump is the only person who can get it done. Black women aren't smart enough to be MAGA. You right, brother. I'm an independent who likes Trump. Okay, Iran is justified. Trump gets things done. She's not MAGA. She's more conspiracy. I'm not more conspiracy. I'm more I'm definitely not MAGA. I am not MAGA. I am more in search of just the truth, right? And you know, in all fairness, the Republicans have had missteps and so have the Democrats, right? You know, when we're talking about politicians, guys, like I want us to be very clear and very honest with ourselves in these chats. It does not matter where you are and seated at in life or whatever the case may be. Even if you do make a certain amount of money and you get a certain tax break, if you are not connected and you do not have power and you do not have access, right? These people who you revere as these great politicians, oh, I'm a Republican, oh, I'm a this, they don't give a fuck. They look at you as a person, as a pawn and a peon in this game. And that's just the truth of the matter. Surely there are some things that you align within your values that they can use to manipulate you and to play on your senses on both sides. On both sides, right? We can give examples of that pandering to the left or pandering to the right on both sides to get you out there so they can keep their power. So, you know, I'm not looking at it from a strictly just a political sense. I'm looking at this from a view as, you know, people and citizens of the United States, guys. It's a class war that's about to happen. It's gonna transcend just race and MAGA. Come on now. He just said oil prices is going up, and so what? Get over it. That's not conspiracy, babe. That's me telling you what he said. Candace is nuts. Candace is I think like after the Charlie Kirk thing, which I think Erica Kirk is fucking nuts too. If you want to say Candace is nuts, so is Erica. Okay. Um, we can talk about her another time. But I'm glad you said that. I'm gonna write this down so I don't forget. I want to talk about Candace Owens and her disconnection from MAGA and how she's now handling still her conservative and Republican views, but without the support of the MAGA machine. I think that's a very interesting deep dive. Doesn't that sound like a good deep dive, guys? Put in the chat if you want to hear something like that. Shia, I can't say it, are not Arabs, they are Persians. Okay. Did she say she conservative? You made MAGA bad, not us. Who said that? Afghanistan was typically US hubris, but thinking they could do what English and Russians couldn't get in generations. Mm. Mm. Yeah, Tony, you're right. Hello, my sister. They use the bathroom differently. The Muslims believe in having multiple wives, reasons best known to them. Okay. Uh, yeah, I know a little bit about Islam. I know a little bit about Islam. Okay, they're Persians, Tony. They're Persians, Tony. They're Persians, Tony. Whatever you say. Hey, right, Alvin? Alvin said Persians was long ago. They were, no, right? One of these dialects they speak is still today called Persian. Okay, good. Let's do some research. I don't understand how, like, if you've ever seen drawings of like indigenous people back in the day and you see um the indigenous people today, they don't look the same. As time goes on, people change, ethnicities are mixed and everything like this. So like the fact that y'all keep saying that, oh, they're Persian or Persian. Okay, I just looked it up. All Persians are Iranian, but not all Iranians are Persian. The distinction is especially important right now because the US and Israel have explicitly stated that they are targeting the regime, not the Persian people. Okay, so does like Israel have a vested interest in Persia or specifically? So they're the Kurds, the Azeris, I can't say this, concentrated in the northwest. It's like a Turkic language. Um, and the Arabs, they have their own group. Okay, why do people say Persian instead of Iranian? So it's a cultural difference. Okay. So Iranian is just the nationality. Persian is ethnicity. Okay. They speak Farsi. Okay. Okay. What does that have to do with anything though? Like how does it apply? How does that change why they want to invade Iran? Public opinion is what you're talking about. Egypt is East Africa. Yeah. I mean, some people say it's North Africa. North anything in North Africa is still they're Arab. However, I think Dems lie slightly more. I mean, okay. I mean, how can we quantify that? Like honestly. Our founders warned us about partisan politics over merit based. Oil prices affect everything, correct? Iranian flag was changed to the current symbol in 1979. Imagine if it happened to the U.S. flag. Persians probably would like to see it go back to the revolution. Okay. Erica has a dark past. She looked like it. Present day Iranians do not consider themselves as Arabs and feel insulted if they are referred to as such. Many are Muslim. Okay. Wow. I saw Candace Owens' bridal picture. Spot the black. I dare you. Wow. That's good to know, Margaret. Present day Iranians do not consider themselves Arabs and feel insulted if referred to as such. I'm going to do my own research on that. Thank you for bringing it to my attention. The U.S. talks about freedom a lot, but its own history shows many people never truly had it. Ugh, the woes of America. Yes, they're Persians, but they're a minority population. That is Arabic, and there's Kurds. Okay, yeah. See, that's what I've read. So like 60% of them are Persian. Not all of them are Persian. And it's a mixed nation now. It's not, and it's also two ethnicities. So they can all be Iranian, but not all of them are Persian. So Persians are still the majority with 61%. 40% belong to other ethnic groups like the Kurds and the Azeris. I don't know how to say that, which are Arabs. Okay. Or they speak a Turkish language. Lors, Balak, and Arabs have their own distinct languages and cultures and often live in the border regions. The country was officially known as Persia in the West until 1935, when the Shah requested the international community use the name Iran. He did this because Iran means land of the Aryans. What? Which was meant to include all of the different ethnic groups, the Kurds, um, Azeris, etc., mentioned above, not just the Persians. Current context. In his speech yesterday, Trump addressed the great Persian people, promising them that the U.S. wants to restore the glory of Cyrus. This sounds like some biblical bullshit he on. Critics said that this tactic to divide the Persian majority from the ruling religious elite. Oh my God. Oh my God, guys. At the beginning of this live, did I not say that he's trying to incite a coup? So like even without me knowing the exact, different between, the ethnicities and the Persian, literally he's trying to incite the coup. He's like, yeah, the Persian people rise up. Get these people out your country. Rise up. That's crazy. Let's go to Africa, some crude oil, and let's get a. All right, y'all. You got anything else y'all want to get into before I go? Any last questions? Send me a super chat. Let's get to a question or two. Um. Let me see what y'all talking about. No extra questions, no comments. We gotta talk about Candace Owens. I think that's gonna be a good topic. And I want to get into um what are we saying here? Iranians, Persian, Arabs, Kurds, Afghans. Egypt is on the continent of Africa. Yes, I agree. Trump got his covered. Why are y'all arguing about that? That's so simple. Mm-hmm. You guys have some good comments going on. Can't wait when Iran I can't wait to visit Iran when it's not so hateful to other countries. I saw some photos of Iran back in like the was it like 70s, 80s? I don't know. Fucking it could have been the 90s for all I know. And it looked like it was a thriving nation. That people were going to school, they looked healthy. It looks like it was starting to, rise above, It definitely looked like it was developing, but I saw a difference. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. You can go ahead and give me a quick love donation. I'd appreciate you so much. Like this video, subscribe, hype the video if you're watching it on the replay. Okay. If you're new here, I'm Joy Melody, Girl from Runaway, where we have culture, conversation, and community. We talk about hot topics, popular topics in a way that helps us reshape and reframe our paradigm so that way we can live the life that we deserve. Guys, this was really good, really fun. I want to circle back. I want to know about this secret shield of the Americas, or the secret shield of the American people, special envoy Kristi Noem, who spent $220 million of taxpayers' monies, but we don't want to spend money on, school lunch, guys. Anyway, guys, thank you for hanging out. As always, I am sending you much love and much light. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.